South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Alex, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday. That was a very fitting commercial to bring us right in with, of course, our usual Monday guest about to join us.
Yes, momentarily, Dwayne Colucci will join us. We got a lot to get to today. A bigger than usual Monday card in baseball on the back end of the show, the trivia question on the back end of the show. But Dwayne Colucci is going to join us right now here on Sports by the Book to look at what we saw over the weekend in both the NBA and the NHL. I'm looking ahead to the Preakness Stakes on Saturday as well, and also what's going on in the NBA and the NHL this week. Colucci with us right now. Dwayne, a pleasure as always. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Alex and Jeff. What's going on?
It's good to have you. It's good to have you right out of the gate here on the show today. And you know, let's start in the NBA, where yesterday, and really we can take we'll get to the Warriors and the Timberwolves in a second, but starting yesterday in Denver, slop fest to say it so politely. 25 total points. It was straight out of 2004 in that first quarter combined. Neither team shot better. Well, both teams shot 24.4% from three, but the Thunder end up getting it done, get the series knotted at 2. And Dwayne, all things considered for OKC, after the way they lost game 3, and absolutely after the way they lost game 1, having this back with home court as a 10-point favorite tomorrow night, this all points to this being a 7-game series with OKC winning the remaining 2 home games and Denver winning game 6 in their building.
Yeah, definitely. It was a blessing in disguise for this OKC team, I guess. You know, I didn't like the way they performed in the game prior to yesterday. That overtime was just an obliteration. And, you know, for the game to slip out of their hands like that so easily, it just, it didn't show that they have that staying power and that put-away power. But, like you said yesterday, 8 points in the first quarter for Denver. That plays right into their hands. And, Shea was 0 for 5, like you said, and from three-pointers. 3-point shooting was atrocious. It wasn't really great defense. It was just sloppy, poor shooting. And, you have to look at the coaching staff on that. They definitely have to find more quality shots. They have to produce more drives to the basket, not rely on these 3-pointers. This game, it's changed so much from the course of, say the late 80s to where we are now. Everything is about shooting that 3-pointer, getting that one extra point. And sometimes it just, if you're not shooting that well, you have to go back to old school basketball fundamentals, and you have to have your point guard distribute the ball, try and milk it inside. Even Jokic at times, he gets enamored with shooting from that head of the 3-point circle. And, it's just not good basketball if the ball is not falling. And the games have been horrible, if you ask me, in comparison to the NHL playoffs, which brings excitement every night and close games. So, the sloppy play has been prominent in these NBA playoffs. And you don't really expect it from a team like OKC, who performs so well during the regular season. Denver had some problems coming into the playoffs. They changed their coaches. It's just... It's not good basketball, but it does point to a 7-game series, like you said, Jeff. I could easily see OKC winning both games at home. Denver's very solid at home, very tough. We discussed this before the series started, that if anybody was going to upset this juggernaut of OKC, it would probably be Denver based on their regular season performance against these good teams.
And that's exactly what I wanted to ask you before we moved on to the other one that we saw yesterday with the Cavs and now Donovan Mitchell injured. But best of 3 now, Nuggets are plus 450. Is there any value there? If we're all pretty confident that this is going to go to game 7, I mean, do you think that's enough to take the Nuggets here, a veteran team?
You're getting a quality team, Alex. I mean, it's not like you're getting, a crap team. They're definitely solid, and they can go to the finals. They proved that. They have the best player in the NBA, probably, in Jokic, other than Shea, this year. And, you're getting plus 450. There's immense value there, especially if you think it's going 7 games. So why not take a chance? Anything could happen in a 7th game. Then it becomes a crapshoot. And OKC, like I said, they just don't seem to be able to just crush whenever they want like they did in the regular season. I mean, you're talking about a team, we discussed this time and time again, that had 50-plus 10-point victories, and now they're playing games where it's 92-87, and you look at it, they scored 25 points in the first quarter, some horrible shooting. Look at these stats. Dort, 2 for 10 from three-pointer. Holmgren, 0 for 3. Williams, 0 for 5. Like we said, Shea, 0 for 5. The bench did okay. I mean, Wallace was 3 for 3. Caruso, he was playing well at times, but they have to get peak performance to eliminate the Nuggets and not have to worry about a game 7. So, there's value there. Definitely, Alex. Good spot on the series.
Going to the other game we saw yesterday in the East with the Cavs and the Pacers, feels like the Cavs are kind of done at this point, especially we didn't see Donovan Mitchell in that second half. On the flip side, I like the favorite here, minus 290 for the Pacers to finish this series, and they're up 3-1.
Yeah, definitely. You're laying 290. You're still playing against Cleveland, but like you said, without Mitchell there, it's going to be. It looks easy. I mean, the Pacers look good in those first couple of games when the roster was thin for Cleveland to begin with, and Halliburton with that big shot, that was huge. It just somewhat sealed the series, and they want to get it over with quick, Alex, because this Knicks and Celtics series could go pretty deep. I mean, the Celtics showing great signs of comeback ability. We discussed that. I feel the Knicks play better on the road in certain situations, especially playoff situations, because there's so much pressure for the Knicks to perform in front of that home court at Madison Square Garden. And that played out in Game 3. I mean, I thought the Celtics were one of the best plays of the year in Game 3, believe it or not. I'm a huge Knick guy, but you have to make some money, and that was definitely a tremendous spot. I felt the Celtics would come out firing on all cylinders. They did. They were able to rectify the comeback possibilities and shut down the Knicks. And, they shut down Brunson pretty good. So, yeah, I think that Indiana really wants to end their series quick because the Celtic-Knick series shows signs of going very deep.
I will say with Mitchell, game time decision for Game 5, it didn't look good. Obviously, everything was a train wreck for Cleveland yesterday, especially when you're getting legitimately doubled up at halftime. That's always a good sign when that's happening. But I don't know. I just
if you bet Indiana, it's a good.
It's a good sign. Yeah, it's a good sign if you hit the Pacers. This has been such a weird series because, like, game one, Indiana shoots over 50% from three. That's not sustainable. Game two, Indiana has that epic comeback. Game three, Cleveland smokes them, and then Indiana smokes them right back. I would almost, I think Cleveland will force this back to Indy, and then Indy will finish it in game six, which might actually dictate maybe you wait. And if you miss the price, you miss the price. Like, if Indiana wins game five, then so be it, and then move. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, you'll lay less.
At that point, it'd be down. It probably would be down to $1.70, $1.60 at that point, maybe $1.40 even if Cleveland and Mitchell look healthy.
You have to, though, take into consideration, Jeff, that Indiana did sit their starters then, too. You look at the time that they played. Halliburton, 26 minutes.
Yeah, didn't have to play.
Naismith, 22. Turner, 21. Those guys are now rested again. So, definitely a tough spot. I could see Cleveland forcing it back, though. Mitchell's a gamer. I mean, he's going to try anything he can to get out there on the court. He definitely wants to win a title and wants to bring some glory back to Cleveland. But I don't know if he's physically, capable of doing that.
So going to the other East series, you just mentioned it previously, Dwayne, but the Celtics finally made shots. That's all it was. That was the only difference from games 1 and 2 to game 3. Boston was 20 of 40 from 3. 22-point margin. There you go. Knicks didn't make shots. So it's been sweet road so far for these teams. Knicks tonight at home are 6.5-point dogs. Totals 208.5. Celtics, as you see, are $3 favorites to win this series now. Dwayne, I said this going into this weekend. It didn't matter if the Knicks won game 3 or game 4. If they're going to win this series, they have to win one of these MSG games in the games 3 or 4. All right, Boston finally looked like themselves in game 3. It was eventually going to happen, a positive regression. If the Knicks are going to win this series, Dwayne, they have to win tonight to me. So if you like the Knicks to win this series, I just would take the Knicks tonight. Because if they don't win tonight, I think they're losing this series in 7, Dwayne.
It's like Madison Square Garden is the Knicks' kryptonite.
Yeah, how about that?
As soon as they start, they didn't even waste any time. As soon as they started the broadcast, they just start showing the celebrities. They start showing Spike Lee and like the Knicks curdle. It's like they're getting a panic. And, there's no pressure in the Garden in Boston, but in the Garden in New York City, the Garden, there's tremendous pressure. And Jeff, you hit the nail on the head. You must win at home. You must win this game. This is a must win. I would take the Knicks with the 6.5 too. If you're a strong Knick backer and you feel they could win this series. I'm skeptical because all these years of losing. I'm a nervous wreck to bet on them. Like I said, I felt the Celtics were a tremendous play in that last game. Let's see what Brunson could bring to the table. They need the supporting cast to step up, but I'm not sure if they can. That's the whole Mitchell Robinson. He's out there and he's hitting his hand on the bottom of the rim. He's like he looks goofy. He can't shoot a foul shot, and that's because of the inexperience. And he's been injured quite often in his career. No discredit. He's definitely a defensive force at times. But when Tatum and Brown are just shooting the lights out, Kristaps look good. It's such a tremendous machine that this Boston Celtic team is, and the Knicks definitely have their work cut out for them. They need Karl Anthony Towns to step up. They need OG Anunoby to take it to the hoop, a few thunderous dunks, get that crowd roaring. Bridges, play a little defense. Definitely they are capable. You saw they were able to come back and beat the Celtics team twice on their home court. So why not win in Madison Square Garden? Embrace the crowd. Thrive off the crowd. Don't feel the pressure. And, Thibodeau, he's part of that problem, in my opinion, too. I love Tibbs at times, but at other times he's just, he looks clueless. He had those starters out there. You knew the Celtics were going to win the game at about the 8-minute mark, if not early of the fourth quarter. And he's got all the starters still out there. And, they're missing shots. They're not playing cohesive. He's got to bench them. He's got to put, get them rest. It ain't benching them. It's putting them on the bench so they could get prepared mentally and physically for the next game. Turn the page. You knew you were not going to win that game. And, like you said, once again, Jeff, got to win in the Garden. They have to win tonight. If they win tonight, they may be the Eastern Conference champion. That's huge because I think they're a better team than Indiana when all is said and done and both teams are fully healthy. So this is huge for the Knicks. Let's go, Knicks, tonight. Come on. Let's put a little fire under our butts. Let's get Brunson off to a quick start. Everybody involved. Like I said, get OG involved. OG was a beast when Brunson was hurt. He could take it to the hoop. There's mismatch advantages. Take advantage of them. Do not just sit near the three-point line and give Brunson the ball for, how much I'd love to see the time of possession that he has. It's like hockey. How much is the time of possession in the offensive zone that Brunson controls, Jalen Brunson controls the ball? I would love to see those stats. You have to move the ball around if you're going to beat this Celtic team. Knicks are capable. Got to win tonight.
I would take that 6.5 and sprinkle a little bit on the money line for, I think they can definitely keep it close here at home. Dwayne, I want to ask you about Golden State here. Now game 2 at home, Minnesota up 2-1. Still no Steph Curry. And then Draymond Green is, not making it easy for this team with all these fouls. What do you make of this one here tonight? Warriors trying to tie it up.
Yeah, Alex, again, you hit the nail on the head. Does this guy even belong in the NBA? I mean, it's gotten to a point where he is making guys like Lambier and Rodman look like canonized saints. And, it's so ridiculous. The dirty play, choking guys, tripping guys, punching guys. Give me a break. And then he thinks like he comes out and makes statements that he's like one of the greatest players ever. And he knows that the only reason he wins is because he has all-stars like Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson when he was at the top of his game. Now you got Butler on the team, Wiggins they had in the past. I mean, this guy is just unbelievably a cancer. And, he better just tone it down. It's difficult enough without Steph out there. Minnesota is definitely hungry, but they're another team that Anthony Edwards, he gets a little outspoken, and he needs to back that up. He needs to really step it up. They have some great players there. They need play from Randall. They're getting good play from DiVincenzo at times. He gets physical. The Warriors are up against it without Steph, if you ask me, but they're still at home, and that's one of the best NBA home court advantages in the league. We're looking at a 5-point spread. The Timberwolves, definitely we're taking some Golden State action naturally. We opened it at 5.5. Ticket count is going to favor Golden State tonight because all the parlays and people get, crazy because they're seeing a plus at home. This is a difficult game to handicap. I think the Warriors with the 5 could definitely hang tough, but it depends on how much Butler has in the tank because he looked a little gassed. It's so difficult to stop Edwards and to, follow him around the court. Jimmy's doing a great job, but he has to step it up to another level just because Steph is not there now. So the Warriors are capable because they're at home. I think they have a tremendous chance with the 5 points, but as a bookmaker, I'll be rooting for the Timberwolves tonight.
Dwayne, we're going to hockey next. Let's go to tonight. Let's start with Carolina and Washington. Canes blew out the Caps on Saturday afternoon 4-0. Quite frankly, it wasn't even that competitive. It was a dominant showing by Carolina. They're minus 250 tonight, plus 210 on the Caps. Again, these prices have been outrageous. If you want to take the dog, again, I would not blame you if you did tonight on Washington, but they have to get some sort of offense going, because their offense, even with a win in this series, has been dormant so far through 3 games.
Yeah, far cry from what they did against Montreal, but that's a different size team, and Carolina has more of a physical presence. They have bigger players than Montreal. Montreal, it was more of a finesse style game that, the Capitals had to deal with. So the Capitals are now up against it. I mean, they have 21 shots, and Anderson's going to stop that. That 15 of them are not quality, probably 6-7 scoring chances. Ovechkin is having tons of trouble. They really need to find some offense. You look at this team and you're getting no shots on goal. That's the whole problem. Larzella with 1 shot in 11 minutes. Mangiapane, he only had 2. I mean, these are guys that have to step it up and support Alex. Alex is going to get 4 to 6 shots a game without a doubt, but how quality are there? And this is a game where they got dominated, and Sebastian Aho had not 1 shot on goal, and they got dominated, and that's like Carolina's best offensive player in my opinion. So This is a difficult series now. Capitals can't find their offense. They better find it quick. Logan Thompson is still playing solid, but, he hasn't been playing as well as he did against Montreal. The scoring chances now for Carolina are going in, whereas he was, playing like a saint against Montreal. So this is definitely an entirely different series. I was undervaluing the Hurricanes. Now they look really strong in this position against Washington. Let's see what they could do against the proven opponent in the next round. Looks like the Hurricanes are going to advance, but this is a gaudy number, like you said, Jeff, plus 210. That's a very, it could become a tough game if Wilson or some of these guys start to step it up physically and force Carolina out of their comfort zone. That's the whole key. Carolina is in their comfort zone now. Washington has to, I hate to say it, but get a little roughhouse, get a little, hard hitting going. And let's see where or how Carolina reacts to that, because they're just playing a vanilla game, it seems like to me, the Capitals, and they need to step it up. Alex has got to make a few rushes to the net, get a little physical. I think that's the remedy and could change the series, but they better do it quick.
Completely agree. And we saw them really physical with Montreal, and I think that's what we need to see from them here tonight. Tom Wilson, doing that crying stuff to all the Canadian fans. We need to see that from them, and the urgency. I am going to sprinkle a little on that plus 210. I do think that number is just slightly too high, and I had the Canes underrated too, and it's really been Frederick Anderson who's been fantastic. So both goalies really, really good. I expect the Caps to at least keep this close. So even minus 125, getting that puck line is pretty tempting as well.
I'll just say this, because Wilson had that amazing opportunity early in the game, pretty much an uncontested breakaway, and Anderson stopped it, and he kind of knew right away, all right, this might just be one of those days for Washington. I would only, I'm kind of with you, Alex. I would actually look to the puck line, take the goal and a half, because, or even look for a regulation tie, something along those lines here today. Yeah. Try to go a little bit off the beaten path of what you would normally do in a hockey game. All right, let's go to Edmonton next. High drama, Dwayne. High drama on Saturday night. Riley Smith bangs one home with less than a second to go to give the Knights their first win of the season.
Leon Draisaitl bagged one home.
I
love the way these Vegas fans Riley Smith.
Fair enough, Dwayne. Fair enough.
Games.
But look, Smith with two technically on his first one. The first one was a pretty one. That was a better one anyway.
Yeah.
But the Knights get on the board. And it did not look, it was the reverse. Again, 3 comeback wins in this series so far for each of the winners. Game 4 tonight, it still's going to be Skinner and net. Pickard is not ready yet after getting rolled up on at the end of game 2. Minus 25 on Edmonton, plus 105 on the Knights. 6.5, almost minus 40 on that 6.5 now, Dwayne.
Yeah, you're just going to see that with Skinner in between the pipes. And Aiden Hill hasn't been much better, to be honest with you. This is definitely another tough game to handicap because, you get the sense that the Golden Knights were playing in desperation mode. And they got the job done. That was a great play for Riley Smith to just throw it in front. Draisaitl, if he has that back, just let the puck go. It was going to go clear through the crease. You would have got to overtime. Big chance to win. The Golden Knights are not playing their best hockey. But it was a good sign that Riley Smith and Carlson started to step it up. You need other support other than guys like Eichel and, the guy synonymous Petro with the Golden Knights. Also, Stone banged up. You have to keep your eye on this. This is very important. Will the Golden Knights be able to get that high-powered offense going against this Edmonton team? You don't want to go back and forth and score goal for goal. Golden Knights got some players back. They're missing some players. You don't know if Saad is going to play. That's very important. They need some help defensively because, Edmonton is an offensive-minded team. Draisaitl is unbelievable. You look at it. He had 2 block shots, 2 assists. He's all over the ice. Kane has been playing decent. McDavid, unbelievable. He had 1 goal, 1 assist in that last game. You have to stop the best player in the NHL. If any team could do it, it is the Vegas Golden Knights. And if Adin Hill has one of them stellar games, which I've been anticipating from him, they definitely look good in this position. Look at the money line, very low, but I always stress that that's here in Las Vegas at the Rampart and South Point. If you shop around, I'm sure you could get a bigger plus if you're looking at the Golden Knights. Golden Knights have a tremendous chance tonight. I'm banking on Adin Hill to have a big game. I think they're going to win and, force it right back to the fortress. I could see a 7-game series here. This is going to go very, very deep. It's starting to play into Dallas's hands just because of the fact they look like they're going to finish Winnipeg off anytime they want. Winnipeg got that 1 game that they needed, but that was sort of a gimme game in my opinion. So now it becomes where will the opponent just be sitting back and resting and waiting for the winner of this Edmonton and Vegas Golden Knights series? I think Vegas definitely has a tremendous chance. Carlson gets going tonight again. Riley Smith, they're going to win the game. I'm waiting for Adin Hill to have that big one, and he is tonight.
And I do think the Knights looked a little more confident going up against Stuart Skinner and know that they have had success against him in the past. It is going to be a tough. I think those numbers are great from the bookmakers. I really don't have a play. I lean to the Knights. I'd like to see if Mark Stone is going to be playing, but great points about the defensemen too, because we're seeing McNabb and Theodore, Hannafin and Pietrangelo, but then it's almost like we don't want Haig and Whitecloud out there when they have their top guys. So we are missing some key defensemen with McDavid and Draisaitl on the other side.
Look at those minutes, Alex. You're 100% right. Theodore, 23-plus minutes. Petro, 21-plus minutes. And Hannafin, 22 minutes. You could get very tired, like you said, when you're just rotating those 4 defensemen. They need defensive help. That's who's, injured. It was great that Dorofeyev came back, but, he's another offensive guy. We have Hurdle. We have guys that could replace. I'm not going to say replace Mark Stone because his heart is the heart and soul of the Vegas Golden Knights. But we have other options offensively. It rests on the defense, and if they have time of possession in the Vegas Golden Knights zone, if it gets excessive and you start to get bad penalties, then Edmonton is going to expose this defensive weakness and the defensive fatigue.
I'm staying away from this game. I wish I didn't lay $1.35 on the over. It's Skinner, like you said, Dwayne Hill is not playing well either, and the last 2 games have been easy overs. So I'm just staying off. Maybe if we get a slow start and there's no goal like the first 8 or 9 minutes of the game and then come in on a better number.
Or even first period. That's what I was thinking. Because some of these games have almost had that feel like they're going to be lower scoring and then second period on.
It was 4 in the first period the other night. It's 1.5, basically a flip. Yeah, it probably is the better way to go with that one for sure. All right, Dwayne, the other 2 series that played yesterday, they're off for the next few days, but I at least just want to ask you about Winnipeg and Dallas because, boy, that game devolved very quickly for the Jets where there was the controversial goal where was there a kicking motion? The refs ruled there was a kicking motion, but Hellebuck knocked the puck in on his own, which very weird ruling to say the very least, but regardless, they gave Dallas the goal and then Rantanen scored right on top of it, and that was that for Dallas with a 5-2 win. I just, at this point, Dwayne, it was better for the most part for Hellebuck, but then it imploded on him quickly yesterday. It is so amazing to me that a guy that's that good in the regular season, you put him on the road in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and he looks like half the time he hasn't played hockey before. It's one of the most bizarre things and storylines of this postseason so far.
Yeah, definitely. He seems like the Aaron Judge of the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, the best player in the American League. And, he couldn't find his way in the World Series. And now you have Connor Hellebuck, the best goaltender on the planet. And he just looks like a backup goaltender in these positions. So, you're not going to go with Comrie. But Dallas, Rantanen's just playing at this exceptional level. We've seen it time and time again. DeBoer gets his team to these points. And, you get to the Western Conference Finals. But the whole thing is, can you put the lights out? And even in this series, you're looking at a huge number. I would take a chance with Winnipeg, but I don't feel confident. I just, like you said, I mean, it's so disappointing that Connor Hellebuck is just your cornerstone, and he can't shut a team out and just shut it down for a game or consecutive games, I should say. Like you said, he knocked the puck in. It was a weird ruling. You have that going against you. Your offense is very, very suspect at this time. I mean, you're not getting a lot of shots on goal from the key players. It's just definitely going to be so difficult. I think Dallas has turned the corner. I think they're going to be waiting for the winner of this series. They're looking to for the winner of the Golden Knights series, I should say. And I just think that they're the better team at this point. Winnipeg, when they fall behind, they cannot score and make up excessive amounts of goals. So keep that in mind. They have to have the lead, and maybe then Hellebuck will feel a little confidence. But he looks rattled and shell shocked. And this next game is going to be the telling tale and a big focal point in his career. You don't want to be labeled as a playoff loser. We're seeing Dallas at 140 at the Rampart and South Point. I think we'll take some Winnipeg money on this game, but it's difficult to say because Dallas looks like they want to just end this series, move on. Let's get ready for the conference final and go from there.
I thought yesterday was such a good spot for the Stars, and I'm hoping it's the same way with the Caps, right? After getting shut out, then you kind of expect that team to really show up. This next game tomorrow is almost a must-win here for the Jets. They need to tie this up. And we know you brought up DeBoer. We know how he is in Game 7s, too. So they don't want to go, and they want to try and get this done within 6. But, of course, they do have to win on the road.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm staying off of tomorrow. We'll break it down further tomorrow on the show. And then, Dwayne, the temperature rose considerably in Toronto and Florida over the last 2 games. I don't just mean it's hotter in South Florida than Toronto. But again,
it's hotter around your collar.
Yeah. Just slightly. A Domi with a dirty hit at the end of a playoff game? No, we haven't seen that one before.
That was great.
But look, Dwayne, I'm just curious at this point because Wool was not the problem yesterday. Wool played great. It just Toronto's offense got totally shut down by the Panthers. Look, I have no idea what to do with this at this point. I have my Toronto tickets. I'm not overly confident because I'm a little bit concerned that Florida's woken up here, and Florida is still, to me, as they don't run out of gas. They're the best team left in the field. But boy, what a finish to yesterday's game, and it was not because it was a last second goal or anything. It was just that the temperature, because of that dirty hit, really rose up, and now these last 3 games are, to me, favor Florida because of what happened at the end of Game 4, I should say.
Well, that's where, you expect Washington. You figure they were going to do something physical like that towards the end of the game.
Well, Tom Wilson's there. You usually expect that, Dwayne.
Yeah. And a Domi is a Domi. You know that.
Yeah.
He played for Montreal. He's a roughhouser. That family synonymous with that. But, why can't Austin Matthews score goals? What happened to this guy? I mean, you're talking about a 60-goal scorer, basically, and he can't put the puck in the net. I don't understand it. And, credit to Florida. We know what we're dealing with the Panthers. They're the best team in the NHL when they're fully healthy, when they get Bobrovsky going. Like I said, you got all these options out there. And Max Pacioretty has been a really nice compliment. So, you have to get that offensive flow going like you had in the first 2 games of the series. But now it seems like everything turned around. Florida's finding their stride. You get shut out with this massive offense. Guys like Nylander, Marner, they were non-existent. They shut them right down. Can't give credit enough. Look at this. Reinhart, 7 shots on goal. Lundell, 4 shots on goal. They're just coming from all angles now. And we didn't even talk about guys like Evan Rodriguez and Verhaeghe. It's so deep, this team. And it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. I tried to explain this to you, Jeff. I'm rooting for you now because we're going to start getting plied soon with Florida money and Florida future money and Florida. So, I hope Toronto could definitely come up big at home. It wasn't Wool's fault. It's a shame, though, that they're starting the goaltender Stolarz is under the weather. It didn't seem like that hard of a hit from behind, but once your brain gets rattled, it's definitely difficult, especially in a position where you have to focus so hard on a small little black object. So I'm hoping Toronto could find that flow again. Nylander, Pacioretty, that line was awesome. if Marner and Austin Matthews get going. Anything is possible. Bobrovsky is not Patrick Roy or Martin Brodeur, but he is definitely one of the top playoff goaltenders. So you can find holes, and definitely you can score against this guy, but you have to do it. That's the whole key. And do not let Florida start imposing that physical will, which they did in the last 2 games, especially that last game with the body checking and the stick forechecking. And, they were just masterful. They looked like they're poised to make another run at the Cup. But the first 2 games, what happened there? So Toronto has a chance. Toronto definitely has to bring their A game. I think Wall bring his A game, and I think the offense will find the back of the net. Austin Matthews needs to score, though. If he could start scoring and get a couple of goals, 2-3 goals, maybe a hat trick, that could change the whole series, because it'll give him the ultimate confidence that he needs, for this team to improve and get to that next level.
Dwayne, before we let you go, early week thoughts on the Preakness. Really, it's journalism in the field at this point for the second leg of the Triple Crown, with no sovereignty in this race.
Yeah, it does look that way, but, anything's possible. Is this horse finally going to bounce? I mean, hit the board every career start. Every career start as a 3-year-old has been stellar. Even the last race was he ran a winning race. But will he bounce on this Pimlico surface? Will the 2-week turnaround hurt him? This is a big key. Sandman's in the field. He might have a chance. I have to look it over as we get closer to race time, check out the weather. But journalism is going to be a big, big favorite. And, it does create handle. I'd like to see that one of the Kentucky Derby front runners there is running in the Preakness. I was kind of disappointed with Sovereignty, but the connections know the horse best. It's all about the health and the longevity of the horse, especially now with all the breeding rights that you have. It's just, tremendous that the horse is worth millions and millions of dollars, and you don't want to subject him to injury. Bill Mott is one of the best trainers in America, so he definitely knows. Godolphin, great ownership on Sovereignty, so they definitely, in their opinion, are making the right choice. The Belmont is going to be stacked, especially if journalism wins the Preakness. I think he'll take a chance at Saratoga, and then you have the top 3 again, where you have Sovereignty, Baez, and journalism going head to head at Saratoga, the Spa, the ultimate setting. So, that's what we're looking for. It looks, though, like the Belmont is going to be much more stacked and much better than this race at Pimlico. I think it's going to leave a little bit much to be desired, especially if journalism is like 1-5 in the race, 2-5. Sandman will take money, but I haven't seen any of the other horses that really leave an impression on the racing form or in their past performances to me. So, definitely he's going to be a huge, huge favorite. Let's see how he trains up to the race, and let's see the workouts, and we'll check out later in the week. Definitely I'll be shooting you some text and some information, Mr. Paul.
There we go. Appreciate that as always. He's Dwayne Colucci. We appreciate you every Monday here on the show. Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart in lovely Summerlin. And my bookie Dwayne on the tweets. DC, pleasure as always. We will see you again next week.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Alex. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, trivia question will be in the bottom. Baseball, rapid fire also to just rapid fire as well of what we just talked about with Dwayne as well. When we get back, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
We're back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, chatting along with us as always, the folks here on the YouTube page.
Yes. So we do have some notes here from Vince. I am going to pull up the actual channel as well, but I do see Damien in there talking about the Warriors and some requests, right, for us to go back through rapid fire NBA and NHL.
Yeah, from Robert, we'll get to what Robert asked for in a second. Just real quick on what we just talked about with Dwayne, reiterating what we said a second ago. Caps and Canes game number 4 tonight in Raleigh. The price is just too high on Carolina for both of us, more so than anything. Carolina's minus 250. You can get as good as plus 225 on the Caps now in the market. That's just too juicy to pass up, right, Alex?
Yes, I definitely think so. I've got the Canes about minus 180, so getting that good 30-cent difference there, plus 210 with the Caps. Probably not a full unit for me, but probably a half a unit with that. Especially, Washington was a great road team all year long, 25-13-3 in the regular season. So, again, though, if you like that plus 1.5, minus 125, you want to maybe tie it up with a baseball favorite. I don't hate that either.
And then the other game tonight, as we talked about, again, Skinner's in for Edmonton. Mark Stone is at morning skate right now, so he will be expected to go based off that, unless if something changes. Edmonton's a small favorite, minus 25, plus 0.5 on the Knights, total 6.5. I think we kind of accidentally landed on what we like, at least what I like here, Alex. I'm going to go over first period, over 1.5 goals, minus 105, which is available. It's Skinner. Hayden Hill has not been himself, and the Knights' offense also has been at their best early in games in this series.
Yeah.
They've scored in all 3 first periods and multiple goals in 2 of them. So this is just, for me, a play on, I don't like either goaltender at the current moment, and the Knights' offense, and Edmonton's offense, 2 goals in the first period 2 nights ago as well. So I'll go over first period, 1.5.
Can't hate that at all. So I do have the number right here with Edmonton minus 125 at home, but I didn't really take anything out for the goalie change. And I probably should have, because Pickard was much better than Skinner. So it's just a lean to the Knights here for me. I'm not going to bet it. No bets for me in this one. I'm just going to watch it and cheer them on. Hope that they can get this win.
And in the 2 NBA games, I'm going to take the 6.5 with the Knicks tonight. And boy, that is a very, very volatile scenario here, betting aside in this series, because it's all going to depend on the Boston shooting. The Knicks still have not shot great from 3 at all in this series. Boston finally shot like themselves in game 3, and they won by 20 plus. So, can the Knicks have a good shooting game for once? Can the Knicks defense, can it hold up? Will there be a shooting regression for Boston back to what we saw in game 1 or 2? I think this game will be tight. I don't have enough fortitude to take a plus 210 on the Knicks, but I'll take 6.5. And if Boston blows me out, so be it.
If I had to play it, that's the only way I could. My dad's got it 4.5 here for the Celtics on the road, so that's a 2-point difference. We're usually looking for 2.5, but I'm with you. I think this game is super important for the Knicks, and they're going to give it their all here at home to try and go up 3-1 on the series.
If the Knicks lose tonight, I like Boston in 7. If the Knicks win tonight, all right, it still could very easily be Boston in 7, but it gives the Knicks at least an opportunity. Again, they're plus 250 leading 2-1. They were an underdog leading 2-0.
Yeah.
So it just shows how big of a favorite Boston was. Would it shock you if Boston backdoor swept them either? No, wouldn't shock me at all if Boston lost the first 2 at home and then wins 4 straight, including 3 road games. And then the other NBA game tonight, I have nothing on Minnesota and Golden State. I'm just staying off. It's 5. It's 200.5. I'm not playing a Golden State team total either. This is to me a complete stay off tonight.
The only thing I would do is go under that 200.5 here. 10-point difference here, looking at Kenny White's number. So I do like that a lot. And what we have seen from these teams, and no Steph Curry, Minnesota's defense is awesome. So, and as long as they have Draymond Green, which I think he'll be on his best behavior,
maybe
Golden State is pretty good defensively as well. So under that. I'm going to go full game though, not either side.
No problem with that. This is as hard of a game. I think this is the hardest game so far this round for finding anything in the NBA playoffs. All right, let's go to baseball. Let's start in Philly. Alex, we'll start with the Cardinals and the Phillies tonight. St. Louis is scorching hot right now, and they actually swept a road series. How about that, Alex? They went to Washington, swept all 3 from the Nats. Cardinals are only a game behind the Cubs all of a sudden, which is totally out of left field from what St. Louis has been, but they have not lost in a week. They've won 7 in a row. So
Since John Gruden.
yeah, couldn't save the Blues though.
No.
But St. Louis playing a lot better. Again, we've talked about it with them. Their offense, when their offense is right, this is a reasonable team this year. And now they're on the road, though. It's going to be a little bit harder tonight against Philly, who's playing well as well, taking a series in Cleveland. $1.70 at home with Sanchez, plus 155 on St. Louis. Philly did play on the road on Sunday Night Baseball last night, but Cleveland to Philadelphia is a joke of a flight.
Honestly, I'd lean to the Cardinals here at plus 155. I do think that's a little bit high on the Phillies, especially if you're going to add in some 4 streaks, and you do want to add some for an 8-game win streak for the Cardinals coming into this. So it would only be a play. Didn't completely make it yet, but these 2 pitchers, they've already seen these lineups once this year. So I think that might be a little bit of an advantage to the hitters as well. So I think that total is right there at 8.5. So nothing definite, but lean to the Cardinals.
I would take nothing in this game except, and this is the thing with Liberatore going for St. Louis. Liberatore has had a blow-up inning in all but one of his starts. So it's just a matter of avoiding the blow-up inning. And that game he didn't have the blow-up inning in was last week when they beat Paul Skeens in St. Louis. So a little more concerned about that on the road. I got to stay off of this. There's really no good angle here tonight on this game, at least for me. All right, we'll go to Queens next. David Peterson, Paul Skeens, Pirates and Mets. Mets took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Pirates actually won a series over the weekend to beat the Braves 2 out of 3 times. But they are betting the Mets against Skeens. This is a 30-cent move here at the South Point from minus 130 to minus 160 on New York. Total is 7. That hasn't moved at all. I'm staying completely away from this game because I don't think the Pirates can score. That's the big concern, as it is in every Skeens start there is at this rate. All right, he may pitch great, but the Pirates don't score for him. So this is a complete stay off, even with me saying that I don't want to take under 7 because if the Pirate bullpen gets involved in this game, the Mets are going to put up runs against them.
Well, and even trying to go under in the first 5, I'm a little bit nervous because Skeens has given up some runs, especially the last 2, 3 to the Cubs and 2 to the Cardinals. So that makes me a little bit nervous here as well. I don't think there's any angle. You mentioned it. I mean, even though you have Paul Skeens on one side, can't really trust that lineup. And then on the other side, though, David Peterson's been very good. So I can see why they are the favorite. It's a little juicy now. So I don't want to lay that minus 160 with the Mets either.
Yeah, stay off. That 30, I wouldn't have minded New York, but not at 60, even though, again, it is a better pitcher on Pittsburgh's side, obviously. So it's hard to lay that sort of price when you have the worst starter and you know it going in, regardless. Even again, Pirate bullpen has been bad for the most part this year. All right, we go to Atlanta. Grant Holmes, Jake Irvin, Braves are $1.80, plus 163 on Washington. Total 8.5. Alex, this would only be a look to the over in this game. Holmes, again, I know he's been better than we expected, but we're still talking about a fringe MLB starter. Again, his ERA is still around 4.5. So how good can you possibly be with that sort of ERA? And then Jake Irvin, I expected him to be a little more consistent this year. When he's been good, he's been awesome. When he's been bad, it has been real bad. So I don't know what I'm getting. It's just a lack of consistency from Irvin. And in that ballpark, I would expect a little less consistency. So over 8.5 would be the look here.
Well, I mean, looking at the spots there for him, looks like because he did really well at Pittsburgh, just not good at Philly. Coming off a pretty good start, though, against the Guardians. So lean to that side. But I'm with you. I like the over. I think that both of these pitchers are going to get hit here. And looking at their median earned runs, we've got Holmes 2.5. He's coming off a game where he just gave up 4. So I'm kind of worried that maybe the wheels are falling off. The only concern is looking at both of these offenses. And while the Braves were starting to look like they were back, now the last 7 games, they've really struggled. Just a 212 average and 62 WRC plus on the other side. The Nats, too, with their 5-game losing streak, 86 WRC plus. So that is the one concern. But I do think that we'll be okay here getting some runs with these 2 starting pitchers.
I will say there's a potential for a rain delay to begin this game tonight. There is some bad weather in the area. But it does look like they'll be able to have a good window by about 8:30 in Atlanta here tonight. We go to Chicago next. Cubs off a series loss against the Mets. Welcome the Marlins, who just lost the series to the White Sox. That's not what you want to do. So it's a nice week in Chicago for the Fish. Colin Ray is minus 250 tonight, plus 210 on Cal Quantrill, total 8.5. Weather at Wrigley tonight. This is word per word what Kevin Roth wrote on Roto Grinders here today. A disorganized cluster of showers moves in during the game. That's always a good sign when you get something like that. So potential for rain throughout the game. Mid-50s, wind tonight at Wrigley. Where did that just go? Is blowing in slightly.
Yeah.
So that's why that's not a higher total here in this game with these pitchers.
And I'm not really dying to take an under, though, with these two pitchers. So this was a definite pass for me. I do think that the Cubs should be about minus 250 here at home against the Marlins, but I don't want to play that right now with how that team is coming into this series. I'd rather wait till they get back on track and don't want to lay the run line.
One last NL only game tonight, and it's a good one in San Francisco. Diamondbacks and the Giants at Oracle tonight. Diamondbacks lose 3 out of 4 to the Dodgers. Split 2 out of 4 against the Dodgers. They get blown out. Almost counted that game yesterday as 2, Alex, because it was such a blowout. Giants, on the other hand, bad series in Minneapolis. They get swept. So yeah. San Francisco with their first really bad series of the year. By the way, Twins are red hot right now. That American League Central has all of a sudden turned into a legitimate division out of nothing. Kelly and Verlander. Merrill's a minus 115 favorite with a total of 8 tonight. Wind is blowing out in San Francisco, but as we know, the wind doesn't have a huge impact in that park just because of the way they built it.
So these next 3 are all going to be very similar and kind of leans right now. I don't know which one I've really landed on yet, but I do like the Diamondbacks. Trying to figure out if I want to play it full game here at minus 115 or just looking at first 5, which is minus 120. I do like the way Kelly is pitched this year. I think that they have the advantage with the starting pitcher. I'm not too worried about the bullpens, though, either. I mean, Giants slight advantage, but the next 2 are really bad and why I'm looking at the first 5. But Diamondbacks, I think this is a good spot for them. And, I mean, Giants coming back from the road game, finally back at home, but might take a little time. So it would only be Diamondbacks for me. First 5 or full game.
Going to Detroit next. Houck and Job, your pitching matchup. Tigers and Bo Sox. The Red Sox actually favored in Motown tonight. Minus 120, plus 105 on the Tigers. Tigers came home, lost 2 out of 3 to Texas. Boston with a good weekend in Kansas City, taking 2 out of 3. I'm staying out of this. 8.5 feels about right. I don't mind if you want to take a plus price on the Tigers at home. That's not a bad look at any point this year against an American League team.
See, and that's why I like the Red Sox first 5 minus 110 here. I know Tanner Houck has been pretty up and down too. We've talked about that, either really good or not so great, but I don't know what to expect from Jackson Job just yet, and I do think that Boston can get to him. Both of these lineups are pretty even right now, what we've seen the last 7 days. So just first 5, slight lean to the Red Sox. That might be my least favorite of all 3 of these, though.
And then up next in Houston, Gusto and Waka, Royals and Astros. Astros minus 20 at home, total of 8 for this one. Alex, Stros, game over 500 entering the week. They take 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati. Royals, as we just mentioned, lost 2 out of 3 at home to Boston over the weekend.
I do like the Royals in this one. I don't love that I can't really trust their offense, but they have been finding ways to win, minus the 2 losses coming into this one, but still really good record, finding ways to win. I like the Royals first 5 with Waka. I definitely think you have a pitching advantage over Gusto. Gusto hasn't been bad, but we aren't getting consistent long stretches from him. So I trust that we will have Waka for 5 innings. That is his median, 5 2/3. So Royals first 5 is minus 105.
Going to the Pacific Northwest next, Alex. Yankees and Mariners. Mariners return home after a good road trip, and they get swept and only score 7 runs over the weekend against the Blue Jays. As we've talked about, that's always the concern with the Seattle team. Does their offense hold up in their own ballpark? And it did not this past weekend. Now they get the Yankees, who went to West Sacramento this past weekend against the A's and took 2 out of 3, and their offense was humming in the AAA ballpark. All of those games went over, and you didn't really even have to sweat any of those 3, with the lowest scoring game being 10-2. Now it's a -140 road favorites with Clark Schmidt for the Bombers. Hancock goes for Seattle +125, total of 8 at T-Mobile here tonight.
And I don't love Clark Schmidt on the Yankee side, but I really can't make a case here to back the Mariners and to go up against this Yankees offense, even though I do lean to Hancock here having the advantage for the starting pitcher role, but nothing for me in that one.
Would only be a lean to the Yanks full game. Just, again, Seattle scares me at home. And it's a shame because I really did think, all right, they turned the corner finally, and then smack, come home and can't hit yet again. Right now, you see the AL standings on your screen. Detroit, the only team that's 10 games or more over 500 in the AL. Yankees and Guards 23-17, Mariners 22-17, Royals at 24-18, and then everyone else is within a game or two of 500, except for those bottom feeders. Even though Baltimore finally won a series, but you're supposed to beat Anaheim when you play the Angels in those series. White Sox also won a series over the weekend, now at 12-29.
Yes.
All right, going to the interleague games here today. Well, speaking of the Guards, who are tied for the second best record in the American League, Cleveland will throw Ben Lively tonight against Freddie Peralta of the Brew Crew. Brewers are -20 on the road here. Actually, 10-cent move on Cleveland in this game. Total at 8.5. Brewers have been pretty average, to put it nicely. They lose 2 out of 3 over the weekend to Tampa. They did salvage yesterday. Also, the first ever rain delay for the Tampa Bay Rays at home yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say. And they gave out complimentary ponchos. How about that, Alex?
Very good.
We love that. No play for me, even though I will say I'm a little surprised this total got banged from 8 to 8.5, even with a little bit of wind. I don't really see that here, Alex. I would actually go under to 8.5.
I love the under, and I'll definitely take that extra half here, go under full game. But I also like the first 5 under 4.5 as well. Looking at these 2 starting pitchers, I know Ben Lively, little hit or miss, but still good median earned run is just 2 and 4.5 hits. And then on the other side with Freddie Peralta, 4 hits, 1.5 earned runs. So I think we're going to be just fine in this one, and both pitchers will be able to get us here under 4.5.
We're agreement on the I'm going to follow you on that too. So under Palooza for us in Cleveland, 4.5 first 5, 8.5 full game, and 8.5 only available here at the South Point. So
yes,
yeah, got to come here and go see Dwayne up at the Rampart. We go to Arlington next. 2 more games to look at here in baseball today. Dollander and Malley, Rangers and Rockies. Rockies fired Bud Black. Honestly, what the hell was he supposed to do with this roster? Let's be real with that. But whatever. So any change is good, right? Any news is good news. -260 on Malley, who has pitched very well, as we've talked about on this show, Alex.
yes.
Dollander up and down, rookie, high-end talent guy, +220. Total 8.5 on this one. Rockies did win yesterday, though, Alex. So they are now 7-33.
Well, and I think that was their boost, right? I think they probably knew about it before the game even happened. I'm not jumping in to take that +220 here with the Rockies, especially I really like what I'm seeing from the Rangers now. I think we're starting to see them make the turn here, and they're starting to be able to get their bats going, and that's what they needed. I don't want to lay the -260, though, so I have nothing in this one. I would lean to the under, like you said. I mean, Dollander, expecting him to come around here. Tyler Malley, under 1. Whip for him. So lean to the under, but I'm just going to stay away.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this. Betting full game unders in Colorado games is not even on the road, not a great recipe, but just how awful that bullpen is.
Yeah.
And again, they did win yesterday, but the game went over. So it's been just, again, over Palooza at Coors, but this game obviously not at Coors here tonight.
Curious what the Rockies team total is. Maybe we could just go under for them.
You got the at the bottom right there. Yep.
Rockies is 2.5.
Yeah, I can't do that. That's too low. It was 3.5, sure, but 2.5. Yeah, not so good on that one. All right, last one. We go to San Diego. It's Kikuchi for the Angels. It's Michael King for the Padres. San Diego over the weekend took 2 out of 3 against the Rockies. I don't know what happened to him yesterday, but the first two games, they scored 34 combined runs, including that 21-0 embarrassment of the Rockies. And that was probably the end for Blackmore, for Bud Blackmore than anything. Minus 210 at home tonight. Total 7. What's the Angels team total on that sheet?
Angels team total 2.5.
Yeah, I wish it was 3.5, but I get it with a 7 on this one. But this feels like a big night for Michael King, one way or another. Maybe you look at strikeouts, see if you can find an alt plus 9 or an alt plus 10, get a nice juicy plus price. That'd be the only way I look at this tonight.
Honestly, I was looking at the under 4 for the first 5, but I think I'd rather take my chances here of keeping the Angels under 2.5, getting a plus 110. Because I agree, I do think this will be a big night for Michael King. The only thing I'm really worried about is the Padres being able to hit Kikuchi a little bit. So I think I want to just keep that out of it. So either we'll see Angels, Padres under 4, or Angels under 2.5 at a plus number.
All right, that was the baseball card here for today on a Monday. We're going to take a quick break. One last chance to get it on the trivia question that's going underneath. And Alex's whiteboard on a Monday will come your way next when we come back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the Book. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
Back in at Sports by the Book here on a Monday, wrapping things up. Big thanks to our guy DC as well, Dwayne Colucci, for joining us. Thank you to everyone in the chat before we get Alex's whiteboard here today. Trivia question: which Women's Tennis Association Hall of Famer record 125 match winning streak on clay ended on this date in 1979? It was Chris Evert. Of course, got that streak ended, lasted from August 14, 1979 to May 12, 1979. So 73 to 79. Incredible for that. 90% of the matches Chris Evert played, she won. 1309 and 146. Pretty good.
Yes.
To say the very least. Tracy Austin was the one who ended the stretch. JR got it. So JR on Chrissy Evert in the trivia question. So JR, new week after not winning the last 2 days of last week, gets back on the board here on May 12th.
Must be watching live.
Yeah, I would say so. All right, Alex, it's whiteboard time here on a Monday, and we got full unit and half unit plays on the board here today.
Yeah, I'm just, I do like those bottom two, but I don't want to go full unit on them. So first one, I do like Minnesota and Golden State. to stay under that total of 200.5. That's my first NBA. I got Diamondbacks minus 115. I'm going full game. Going to trust them here. Merrill Kelly's been very good for them and their bullpen as well. Brewers, Guardians, both like this. Full game under 8.5, only here at the sell point, and I like under 4.5 first 5. And then Angels and Padres, I'm just going to go under 4. I did see some 3.5, so I think 4 is a good number. We can keep both of them there. Kikuchi can hold the Padres down for a little bit, maybe 3-0 after the first 5.
Knicks plus 6.5, and then under that we talked about in Cleveland and Milwaukee are the two that I'm simpatico with you here today, and that's going to be it for me.
And a little bit of caps, right? I forgot about those half ones.
Small on Washington, but I haven't figured out. I might just take the puck and a half. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe find even a nice little over. Will the game go to overtime price here tonight? But boy, Washington's offense scares me right now, Alex. They just have not been in rhythm at all in this series, even with that Game 2 victory to at least get this series back to Raleigh 1-1. Again, Carolina leading 2-1, Game 4 tonight, the first of the doubleheader in NHL.
I mean, there's going to be a night. Tonight could be the night for Ovechkin to score a goal there. But they really got to get Dylan Strome going because he's the facilitator, and that's been the struggle.
Yeah. Alex, how many goals against Skinner tonight? 3? 4?
4.
4? Yeah, I think we're in agreement on that. Not sure which side we'll get there, though, in that game. That's why we're staying off of that game here tonight with BGK and Edmonton. All right?
I was going to say 4-2 final, but that's not even...
That doesn't get the over there.
6.5, yeah.
Doesn't get it there. All right, big thanks to the crew, Drew Dog and Sean, Ryan, Jerry, and Vince. Thank you all as always. Alex, thank you as always. Kenny's back with us tomorrow.
Yep.
At 10 a.m. right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Thank you, everyone in the chat as well. Make sure you're following us all across social media and hit that subscribe button if you want to chat along with us if you happen to be watching us right here, South Point Studio, Sports by the Book. See you tomorrow.